feeling I can't. Got me mystified.
How we doing, everyone?
Got me mystified.
What is that?
Oh, pretty baby. You know.
Do I?
Yeah, Fleetwood Mac.
Do you know, I've not really listened to much Fleetwood Mac.
I would say it was something that I was used to when I was a kid because my dad had all their albums. They're huge. They're still huge. And then the older you get, the more you appreciate how good they are.
Really?
And it's pop. And I don't like pop music. And I was having to go at fucking Taylor Swift.
Yeah, although you listen to Harry Styles all the time.
Harry Styles is good music, mate.
I think, let's be honest, we fancy him.
Look, I have no issue with telling you that I might fancy a man, but Harry Styles isn't the one for me.
Really? Is he not?
Yeah,
if you were to fancy a man, what kind of man would you go for?
A real man.
It'd be Harry all day long for me. I think.
Because he's delicate. Because he's sort of close. He's sort of
delicate.
Ordering. Yeah, he's delicate, isn't he? He's like. I think by his own admission, he would say that he's. Do you know? It's hard to describe because I was saying he isn't an alpha male, but he is pretty alpha because he's just like, it does what he wants. He's like, fuck you. Yeah. I want to wear this pearl necklace.
I think he's incredible. Like, I've had strong conversations with family who's been constantly suspicious of me over the years. Because I think there are certain people that have a magnetism that you can go, okay, do I, at my base level, I'm not a gay man, so I'm not bothered about the sex. Let's go past that. But if you need it, and I still get to be around you, do you know what I mean?
You do it, yeah, you do it. I completely understand it. Look, I mean, there's nothing. Not that there's anything wrong with being homosexual, obviously, right? We're way past that.
They seem to have so much more fun. Honestly, I've spent a lot of time around a lot of gay men, and they all seem to have a happier outlook on life. They seem to have better nights out, and they seem to have better friends. I
agree. I absolutely agree. And if that means me having to make love to Ryan Gosling once a fortnight, so be it.
Yeah. What about football podcast on its way? Don't worry about that. But we're back, aren't we, Flav? We're bloody back. How do any men? Are there any men that you think that if you met them in real life, you'd just be a bit giddy? See, I think that's the kind of road. That's how I feel about Harry, about Bex. Chuck Gosling in there as well.
Yeah. I can't think of anybody I've actually been starstruck by. Glenn Hoddle, I was a bit weirdly, but this is because my dad had forced the idea of Glenn Hoddle on me.
My dad had forced the idea of Glenn Hoddle. That sounds like it's completely wrong, but it's actually so right.
He's been the greatest footballer that he's ever seen over and over again. And then I was ambushed by him.
Oh, really?
So I didn't know.
You weren't ready for it.
I wasn't ready. Suddenly he was there. And not just was he there, I was having to spend the next 2 hours of my life with him. And I didn't know that this was happening.
Oh, was this the podcast that time?
Yeah.
At dinner, wasn't it?
We went for lunch. Well, we weren't even invited to the dinner. We just sort of press gang up. And when I say dinner, it was a single table with 8 people. It was not like a big dinner in a big room. It was in a restaurant in Paris. And I was on this table. I've told the story before. I was on this table with Lee Dixon, Ian Wright.
Takes your breath away, doesn't it?
Hoddle. And the geezer, the presenter. What's his name? The little guy. Saying that about you one day, Jim.
Little guy, yeah. That's the dream for me. And who's the other one? Presenter, little one. That's what I want.
What's his name? No, he does the World Cup stuff via TV.
Pugach.
Yeah, him.
Is he little?
Yeah, he's tiny. He's tiny.
Is he?
Yeah.
Oh, brilliant.
He's a manlet.
I met someone at the airport on the way back from Qatar, and I met him in the waiting area before you go on the plane. What's it called? Your gate. And so we had a little chat. And it was fine. It was lovely. I sort of you then do we all do this where you're going on the plane and so you want to get as much internet action as possible until you have to put it on flight mode, or even if you're not going to put it on flight mode until that internet access is not there anymore.
Yeah, hang on a second. When you get the internet access, just check my WhatsApp messages one more time. I better just check them again before airplane mode.
And you actually put yourself in a bit of a spin because you kind of go, you'll send out some WhatsApp messages, and then you don't get, you know, have they replied? Have they not replied? And then what you're really investing in is when you land, and it's notifications.
Yeah, well, you didn't you when you had the England versus France? Was you not?
Well, I was able to pay for the Wi-Fi. Yeah.
Did it work?
Yeah, it did. Yeah, I mean slowly, but yeah, I was sort of tweeting during the game, which was good. What were we talking about? But yeah, so as I was literally then walking on the bit that connects to the plane, that guy tweeted saying, "Just met James Allcott, nice bloke, a bit shorter than I thought." And I thought, yes.
Oh, they don't know.
Well, no, I thought, yes, I've made it, because I think that's what that was always been the dream, is to go, have you met James?
I mean, I get it.
He's
I get it.
fucking tiny. That's what we want.
I don't think it's necessary to add the tiny bit. Just I met him.
Part of me was like, cheeky shit, but we move on.
I met a slug in the wild.
Oh my word, we've got slugs in the wild today. We've also we've got Samisms. We're going to do our mid-season Premier League predictions, completely copying Spencer, who did it yesterday, and I saw it and I thought, that's an easy one. We're going to talk about Christmas Day guilty pleasures. I'm going to reveal one that I think once I reveal my Christmas guilty pleasure, you guys will go, of course. I've asked you to have one. As well. Have you got one? Have you got good?
Yeah.
And of course, so exciting. So exciting. Actually, I once met for Roy Keane. And I went back to the old pods or before the World Cup because we had a bit that was starting and I think it had legs. So I've kind of gone back to it. There are a couple of Only Men Know. So do you remember we were focusing on the different nods that men do to each other, or the walk on the beach where if they take a little wider step, they're just letting those balls run free. Speaking of balls, hang on a minute. Just hang on. Sorry, just let me find the right tab. New Year's is coming. 4.0. Oh no, sorry, I'm just reading the title. But this podcast is sponsored by Manscaped. As you guys know, I'm a huge fan of reading out the copy, and I actually don't read the copy until I get the opportunity to do it live on air because it's great bloody fun. Okay, so let's begin. Hey fellas, this episode of Insert Show Name at James and Flav for Now podcast is brought to you by our favourite producers of ball trimmers, Manscaped. Manscaped. Okay, Manscaped TM exclamation mark. The global leaders in below the waist grooming are leaving 2022. Can you believe it's the end of 2022? It's crazy, isn't it? With a clear mind. With a clear mind, Flav, but also with clean what?
Balls.
Correct.
Testicles.
Testicles. Yeah, whatever. Do you know we had a growing up? We called a vagina a mini moo. I wonder if anyone's got a funny name for a penis or testicles. Let us know in the chat, guys.
I always like Johnson.
Johnson. He's got a huge Johnson. What's that from? Austin Powers. Anyway, Manscaped, they're keen to help. They want to help you have clean balls and a clean mind. And they're going to help you do that with the special offer. Use the code Allcott20 for 20% off and free shipping at manscaped.com. Take the leap into the new year and join the 7 million men who already trust Manscaped. Lovely. Really, really good.
Yes, good stuff.
We've got some talking points here. Let's talk about them. And of course, you guys need to know about the important bits of it, which are the crop preserver. Huge fan of that. It's a ball deodorant, anti-chafing, crucial, because I got a bit of chafing in Qatar because of all the walking, Flav.
Size of your balls.
Yeah, it's that chance. And and the crop reviver ball toner.
I didn't stand a chance. You would have stood a chance if you used the
yeah. If I'd taken it with me, so I stupidly didn't. But of course, 2023 is on its way, and the last thing you want is to be the guy with pubes getting in your way. Tell me about it. Of making it your best year. The Manscaped Lawn Mower 4.0 is the leader of the Performance Package 4.0, or as I call it, the perfect package for my package. Brilliant. Manscaped engineered the ultimate groin and body trimmer by focusing on intelligent functionality and incredibly comfortable grooming experience. This new year, shave the loose pines off your wood.
Lovely. The thing is,
with the best tool for the job. Sorry.
The thing is that you coming into January, everyone's gonna start going to the gym. Like after the win, I've got to say, I've let myself go. I couldn't give a shit. I've stopped exercising. I've been drinking loads.
Isn't it? It's tough.
Yeah, but I don't care because it's like the wedding's done. That was a big event, and now's the time just to relax a little bit. But I'm getting to a point where I'm just thinking, there's relaxing, and then you're taking a piss now. So
right.
After in January, I'm going to do dry January. Mm-hmm. I'm going to get in the gym. So if I'm ready to sort of help my body get into shape, and by stop drinking, I'm helping my mind get into shape. Why wouldn't I let my balls get into shape?
And if you're having trouble dealing with the wild weeds in your nose and ear, Manscaped has you covered with their weed whacker. It will change.
I am getting to an age where that is an issue.
Mate, me too.
I've got to be honest.
My eyebrows are growing round, which that's a different thing now. But my nose hairs just. It's got to the point where the problem I've got as well is because I've got a kid. Often either I need to be with the child or he's sleeping. So I've got to be quick with my weed whacking. And so literally last night I said to fam, we have a little cuddle. I said, I know my nose hair's getting out of control. I'll sort it. Just give her a warning. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Anyway, links in the description. Thank you for Manscaped for supporting the podcast this year, 2022. As I said, get 20% off and free shipping with the code Allcott20 at manscaped.com. That's 20% off with free shipping at manscaped.com. Okay, Happy New Year to your balls. Sorry, I thought that was important to say. It seems like it was. Okay. World Cup's done. Christmas is here. Prem's back. Final thoughts on the World Cup. Do you like this, actually, by the way? Do you like my jumper?
Oh, yeah. Sorry, I did mention that earlier. It looks like pajamas, and it looks like you've got a... what is that? Is that a captain's armband?
Well, so I forgot I had this, right? But I was doing a different brand deal integration video, and which involves one of your favourite animals, let's say. And, we've had a long-standing relationship with them as well. I wouldn't disrespect Manscaped by speaking about them, specifically. But what I realised is that I did a joke. I did a joke for that brand deal thing. And then just as I was exporting it and sending it to the client, I realised I'd done the exact same joke a year ago. And so I went to find that joke because it's all in the same folder of exports. And I was wearing this jumper. Now, this was a Christmas jumper given to me by someone, and the same people about a couple of months ago, they were, actually a couple of weeks ago, sorry, were pushing, do you want another Christmas jumper? Do you want another Christmas jumper? And I was thinking, I don't need another Christmas jumper. And if I did
that's a good one.
Sometimes when you need them for like a video or whatever, like, bring a Christmas jumper or whatever, I've got one now because I quite like this one, right? So I thought, do you know what? I'll chuck it on for the Christmas pod with Flav. And as I grabbed it, I saw this on the back.
Do you know, it's weirdly because I was looking at the star in the front and I was like, it's a shame, that could have had two. It's coming home. It's not coming home.
It's not coming home. Gareth is staying.
I think it was the right decision.
For him to stay, yeah.
Yeah, I think so. It's only 18 months next decision. Well, I mean, we talked about this, but yeah, I think it's the right thing.
I agree. But, as I said previously,
overall, World Cup has been was good. It was very enjoyable. Very enjoyable World Cup. I was surprised that some people it's not as definitive as I thought it was going to be. I thought it was widely accepted, like politics aside, as being one of the best World Cups has been
on the pitch.
On the pitch, yeah, and but apparently not. Like I've spoken to a few people saying, no, they just thought there was too many boring games. I thought there are a few. Obviously, you're always going to get that. But by and large, the quality of the football and the excitement has been through the roof, and it was a final to match, like an incredible spectacle. That was the greatest extra time I think I've ever watched. Ever. It might be the greatest final of all time, World Cup final of all time.
My voice, I did a live stream and I thought, oh God, it's gone to extra time. And it was just, the whole thing was chaos. I don't think my throat's recovered yet. So I was getting to a point where I was like, what the fuck is going on here?
I know, like, both Argentina could have won it in the final minute or final 2 minutes.
They had a proper
unreal.
go, didn't they? That was good. That was really good. It was an amazing tournament, especially if you like break down, say, the group stages. Costa Rica lost 7-0 and they were still like 20 minutes away from making it out of the group.
The winners lost to Saudi Arabia.
Yeah, exactly.
That's crazy.
South Korea. I went to the South Korea. Who did they play? Who did South Korea beat to go through?
It was when Son was crying on the floor. I can't remember.
I want to say Croatia. No, can't be. Oh God! Anyway, but when he did this unbelievable little pass through the legs, oh my God, it was insane.
Yeah.
And then the final was just. And do you know what I keep thinking about? I kept thinking about how Lionel Messi's feeling. Like the next morning, I know you get annoyed. What are you getting annoyed? What are you getting annoyed about? He's a nice bloke.
I'm even more annoyed about him now.
Mate, he spent 20 years getting kicked, and always just getting up and getting on with it. He's a bloody good bloke. He never says anything too like hefty. He's not an arsehole, and he wins it. And I just think, obviously it's down to a penalty shootout, right? But that next morning and the rest of his life would be defined in a completely different way, and he will have a satisfactory glow for the rest of his life, whereas he would have had a pit in his, is that the phrase? Pit in his stomach, Samism's coming soon. If they hadn't won that penalty shootout, if Martinez hadn't been such a shithouse.
What could any of that possibly have to do with me and my happiness?
It's called empathy, Flav. I think you can recognise certain people.
You think he deserves empathy?
More,
you think he deserves empathy?
He's the Argentinian Heung-min Son.
I don't care. It's not him. It's nothing to do with him. It isn't anything to do with Lionel Messi as a person. I have no issue with Lionel Messi. Why would I? That would be odd. My issue is just the constant stream of conversation about him. Now, frankly, Ronaldo's finally, being exposed as the bit of an arsehole he's always been.
That's so true, isn't it? That's really come out, hasn't it? The crown has slipped as soon as we realise he's immortal. It's the age-old thing that we see time and time again. That's a great question for the comments, actually. Who's the next Ronaldo of the guy that everyone will give a pass for his behaviour and way until he becomes mortal? Do you think?
I don't know, but what he's sort of gotten away with through his behaviour and his petulance and the stuff outside the pitch, it's mad what being good at football will allow you to have.
Provide,
but to Messi's credit, he's never got involved in that. It isn't, like I said, it's not Messi. Like what he did, like I'm being a dickhead. I understand that. The storyline. If you're really into football and interested in these things, it was perfect that he won the World Cup. It's better for football that he won it than Mbappe did, because Mbappe's got another 15 years to go again, and he's already won it once already. So yeah, I get it. And I understand the Messi thing. It's just like, I just sort of find it a little bit sad. It's a little bit like sad. Like, why he doesn't play for your club?
No,
he doesn't play for your club. It's nothing to do with your club you follow.
But it's about the person.
No, it's not nonsense.
It's about
tribalism. Is the lifeblood of football. It's not nonsense, right? If you have nothing to do with Argentina and nothing to do with PSG or Barcelona, your interest in Lionel Messi, in my opinion, should be minimal. Concentrate on your own club.
That's so ridiculous.
I don't think it is. That's how I feel.
I get you, man. I appreciate it, and I like. We need points of difference. What I would say is, I'm just like, People are like, I don't like Argentina, hand of God, blah blah blah. I get it, right? But even for me, like 1998, I didn't like Argentina, and I don't like sometimes the way that they behave. But that man specifically, that tiny little Lionel Messi man, he's just a good lad. And like, if anyone's going to complete it all, I'm happy it's him. That's what it was. It was all about him. It's all about him.
But then he's like, okay, well, he's done it now. Sort of, go on, retire, go on. And he's like, no, I'm coming back in 4 years. And I'm like, for fuck's sake.
Has he said that?
I think he's retiring. I think he's not.
Oh, I thought he said this was his last World Cup. I think the storyline was incredible, wasn't it, as well? That's the thing for me. And I think if someone's going to get it, then I'm okay with it being him. Like if Ronaldo had won the World Cup, I'd be down. I'd be pissed.
Yeah,
because he does.
What did you think?
It's ugly. The way he behaves is ugly.
Yeah, but the way Argentina play football in part is pretty ugly as well. He doesn't partake, but some of their antics during the World Cup, especially Martinez, it doesn't fit. It doesn't sit. I get it. You win, and sometimes you have to do that to win, and you take every inch you can to win. But I don't know. I suppose if it was England, I'd make excuses for it. But
I think that's a very good, honest take from you, and I think I might do the same. But I do think I'd openly say, I wish he hadn't done that. If Pickford had done the same, like all this stuff,
like kicking the ball away.
It's just, do you know what? My mate yesterday, 2 days ago, how good is this as a rule, right? During a penalty shootout, as a rule, the goalkeeper cannot touch the ball unless he's saving it.
Yeah,
I think that's a great
the consequence
rule.
Will be, yeah. And if you do touch the ball, you have to go to the side of the post and be fingered for 2 minutes straight by one of the referees.
Yeah,
that's while everyone watches.
Seems fair, doesn't it? That seems fair. Yeah, and you look,
just one hand on the post, and he just.
Christ. Yeah, your choice if you want to pull your shorts down or not. You can go up the side if you want. Your choice. But
oh no, I forgot about it. You touched the ball, mate. You're interfering with the ball. Now I'm going to interfere with yours.
Yeah.
Just standing behind him. Martinez's hand's just on the post, and he's behind him just.
Catherine with a power move here. Right. So for those of you who don't know, Catherine is our queen. And she is a huge Aston Villa fan. And thus, the fact that she says here, it's funny how rattled he got everyone. You're saying that due to the tribalism of which Flav has spoken about, where he's like, well, he's one of our guys, so you're making...
Yeah, if he didn't play for Aston Villa, you wouldn't be even interested in talking about it.
If he played for Birmingham City, you would be going, what a scumbag. Guaranteed.
Yeah.
Guaranteed.
Yeah.
Joseph punches back for Catherine, protects her, although she doesn't need protecting by saying, cry more. Yeah. I think... I think that needs to be a rule. I think it'd be a good one.
I think by commenting on the fact that he behaved in a way that doesn't quite align itself with sportsmanship it's a discussion that might be worth having. The fact that if you have it, you're considered to be a bit like anti-Argentine.
Well, see that. I mean, the thing is, right. And I've been to Argentina, and I played football, like, pick-up games of football, right? And it's ingrained in the culture. It's like I've watched documentaries on it in terms of Maradona and the Hand of God and things like that. It's about cunning. Cunning isn't a bad word; it's a good one, and it's about sort of the ability to sort of pickpocket or use that sort of tactical elements of it. It's something that's completely, absolutely fine, but it's not a British thing, I would say, generally. I don't know. I get how I'm sounding, and I get that it's holy and thou, but I think the bottom line for me is it's how it feels. Everything's how it feels, and so winning things, not winning it winning it in that way doesn't feel nice. That's
you're right, and also Pochettino when he was Spurs, he would say, no, these are managing the games. This is gaining an advantage, working the system. In Argentina, It's not seen as a negative thing. I remember him saying he was asking about simulation. He goes, it's not simulation, it's winning a foul. Right. I mean, I disagree with him completely, but when he was our manager, he was like, yeah, fuck it. Well, let's just engineer the game. The other thing is when, despite how you might think about Martinez in that penalty shootout, there was one keeper that was ruling that, and there was one that wasn't.
Yeah.
And Lloris was a wallflower pretty much, whereas Martinez looked like he was in his element.
Or a class act, depending on how you want to spin it. But yeah, I know what you mean. And no, he does, like, Martinez, that is, normally it's potluck, isn't it? You go 2 goalies, off you go. But it did feel like Martinez was sort of owning it all. And do you know what the genius of him throwing the ball is that obviously, like, all these penalty takers, like Luis Enrique was talking about how you have to, everyone in my squad needs to have taken 1,000 penalties in practice before we get it, or whatever it was, 100. Sorry, I've still got a cough. And I remember thinking, that's nonsense, because you just cannot recreate the moment, right? Same with Harry Kane. How many penalties he's taken? And in that moment, the pressure, and on other occasions, the pressure hasn't got to him, but on that occasion, it did. And actually, what I remembered as well is that he missed the one against Denmark last year. It came straight back to him, didn't it? And he put it in. So he did actually miss that one as well. Anyway.
Yeah.
But do you know what Martinez does, which is really clever, is that you go, okay, how did you have this penalty going in your mind, Tchouaméni? He goes, well, I'll get given the ball and then I'll put the ball down. Da, da, da. Martinez goes, no, this is different. This is different. This is not the way that you had it in your head. I've got the ball, and now you've got to go and get the ball over there. Something as tiny as that is genius in terms of just disrupting his mind. For sure.
It would be the same. I completely get that in a very small ways. When I used to play cricket, right, and you'd get into a zone where you'd be able to just connected with every ball, and then you have a moment's lapse in concentration. It was over. Imagine that added like 1,000,000% of the pressure of the World Cup. It's what Cameron just said there. Is you're disrupting muscle memory. Everything that was practiced was disrupted by Martinez doing it. And do you know what? If it was Pickford and he did it and we won the World Cup because he did that, then so what?
I think I would find excuses for sure. I understand.
100% I would.
I understand. Yeah, because you know, it's funny there when you're talking about cricket. So I got put up a team, right? I got put up a team, and I was a wicketkeeper for the thirds. I got put in the seconds because I was a good sort of situational batsman. But more importantly, the captain loved putting me at what's it called? Silly short leg. Is that what it's called?
Yeah,
short leg, whatever it's right. Because we had this really good spinner, and he knew I was lippy. And he liked to put me there.
What a bit of sledging.
And I just talked to the batsman, just talk and wind him up. And in that culture, it's fine. Like if there was one ball, even if he was like all over it, looking strong. If there was one ball that he left, I go, oh, bounced weird, didn't it? That one bounced weird. And you just anything you could do, you could plant in their heads. Did you breathe in or out? Paul Nixon did this one. It was brilliant. Do you breathe in or out when you hit the ball? Just leave it there. Like, all that stuff. So you're right. I get it, but yeah, it didn't feel right. It was this fairy tale thing that I was doing. But great World Cup on the pitch.
It's crazy. Yeah. It's crazy that Martinez, like Arsenal had him, and he played 10 games to 11 games for Arsenal, and he was great for them. And then Villa came in and bought him. And you're like, wow, they've got a good player there, and he ends up a World Cup winner.
I'd like to know, Arsenal fans, would you rather forget the money that you spent or lost or whatever it might be? Would you rather have Ramsdale? Or would you rather have Martinez?
There isn't a single one of them that won't say Ramsdale. Not at this current stage. They will all say it merely because.
I think they do the age thing, wouldn't they? They say the age thing. World Club, because Infantino, who I wonder how he's feeling. Infantino, he's saying there's going to be this World Cup or whatever it's called, right? That same question: would you take Emmy for that tournament, or would you take Ramsdale? You'd have to take Emmy, wouldn't you? Arsenal fans, come on, be honest. Speaking of Arsenal, they are currently sitting, and they do sit. They don't. Or do they stand at the top of the league, or do they sit at the top of the league?
Who gives a shit?
Well, the one thing we do know is that they're there. There they are, 14 games in, game in hand on Spurs. Didn't notice that. Joe, actually, have you looked at the league table, Flav? Because did everyone just forget since the
no, obviously I've not even thought about the Premier League since then.
So you've got two here, like Arsenal and Man City. I think I knew that. What I didn't remember. Newcastle are third. Completely forgot about that. Completely.
He lost one game all season, ain't he?
Yeah, unbelievable stuff. So I thought we'd do a bit of quick fire predictions. What I would like in the chat, guys, and again, if you want to join us live for the podcast every week, then there's a link in the description. Become a patron. I've actually got 5 of these Jaffin balls, and I need to figure out a way to give them away. So we'll give them away to wet slugs or moist slugs. What when you look at that table, Flav, can you see it?
Yep.
Lovely. What are your gut calls? But yeah, patrons, let us know where do you think your team will finish, and what are your sort of gut calls in terms of teams doing better or doing worse? Do you think, for example, the gut in me, not the head, but the gut in me, does feel like Arsenal are going to go on a bad run? I know they're my sweet Gunners, but I can't not be honest and look at that after, the great run that they had, but the World Cup happening and Gabriel Jesus being out, and not feel like cracks will start to appear.
Well, if you look at it, Arsenal's minutes contribution, weirdly, I've got it here, I think. No, I don't. It's about half as much as Man City's. Martinelli didn't really played a few games, and Saliba didn't play.
Saka played a lot, didn't he? Ben White didn't play.
Ben White didn't play. Does anyone know what the Ben White thing was about? Why he left England? I heard. There was rumours of all kinds of rumours, but I don't want to comment on that just in case it was something serious. Yeah. So look, you would say that actually Arsenal come away from this World Cup, apart from Jesus, who, having spoken to the league judges at length at this because he won't shut up about him, that will be a massive loss. But I feel like they'll probably have enough to do. I think they're in a better position than they were before the World Cup, really. And the impact of the World Cup isn't going to be seen till April.
Sorry, why are they in a better position?
I just think the vast majority of their players didn't really contribute. Like Saka did, it was 4 games, and Martinelli barely played, so he practically had a holiday with training. Saliba is the same. So I would say that they would be less affected now, and if they add in January, then probably be all right. Still going to be part of the title challenge for sure. I don't know, man. Fuck them.
I was wondering where you're going there, because I was thinking, where's he going here with this? And I was like, are you doing the reverse psychology setup of going, well...
No, I've already had this once with the Bet Victor thing. They said, we know what you're doing. I was like, I'm not doing that. I'm not doing that. I'm not doing reverse psychology. I'm saying that they should be going into this full of expectation.
They should be going into this full of expectation. Okay. And
yeah, look, you can't.
If they fall beneath that expectation,
well, they're going to bottle it if they don't win the league. It's a complete capitulation bottle job. Like this would be a sort of bottling on a scale that I've not seen before.
Yeah, no, I think that's a bloody good point.
Do you know what I mean?
Well, 5 points clear, came in hand on 3rd and 4th.
Yeah,
Man City. Who Man City got? Let's have a look at the fixtures for Boxing Day. I have no idea who QPR have got, actually. QPR are curiously in 6th, by the way. And Neil Critchley steps into the breach.
What's been happening now out of Loftus Road then?
Lots to catch up. We've swapped managers. Beale's gone.
Yeah.
Do you know what I found? Honestly, on an emotional, chemical reaction, I was in a pub and Rangers came up on the screen. And literally, as I looked up, they did, when they do the lineups, and they'll show the manager first. They go on Sky Sports.
Yeah,
the manager, and it was Mick Beale with Mick Beale's face just staring at me.
His grubby little face.
You chocolate.
You bastard! You fucking bastard! Done it fucking again!
Harry Kane. He's done it again.
Done it
against Denmark. He's done it again.
Like you said, Mark. You said I'm not leaving. How can I have? I told my players. I said that we're here. I talked to their parents, said they're going to stay here at QPR. I can't abandon them.
Their parents. How young is our squad? Yeah, I said to them, I can't be the first one to jump ship.
You absolute rat. You scumbag. You're the worst thing about football. You're the worst.
Yeah.
Worst thing about football. Don't let anyone don't let anyone get in mix. If you're around Bill, and you're listening to this podcast, don't let anyone near him to say, well, Rangers, big club. But bollocks. You can't 3 weeks ago say, I'm staying at this football club. I can't be the first one to jump ship, and then be the first one to jump ship 3 weeks later without us calling you a wanker. What a scumbag. What? It just shows you everything, James, about his character and who he is as a human being. You're well out. You're well out.
I really hope there's a QPR fan who's a member of staff at Rangers, and they have their Christmas do. And at the start of the night, you go up to Mick Beale and go, Mick, welcome. It's great to have you back. Are you going to be staying for the whole evening? Yeah. Oh, yeah. He's got a drink in his hand. Well, it's Christmas, isn't it? I'll stay here for the whole evening. Brilliant. So you'll be staying here for the whole evening. Well, yeah, I wouldn't leave. It's Rangers Christmas do, and I'm the manager. Right. Okay.
Yes, you are.
And then I walk off for about half an hour at most. I come back going, are you still staying? You still staying? And he goes, yeah, it's only been half an hour. I go, yeah, because you said that you were going to stay, didn't you?
Yeah. And you know what he does, Jim? I don't want to steal your punchline.
No, go on.
But at 10 o'clock, he calls a brass. Fucks off.
Yeah. He goes, he looks at the venue and he goes, this is a good venue for my ambitions for the evening. And then he gets 20 minutes down the road and he goes, oh, there's a Spearmint Rhinos in Glasgow, isn't there?
I forgot about that.
It's a bigger club.
Yeah, I'd like to do that better more than this. Even though I did say I'm going to stay, that place does have tits. So I am going to go there. Yeah, no scruples. And I get it in football. There's no,
football. I was going to walk away from this kind of job, blah, blah, blah. You said that you would walk away from these jobs.
Yes, you said it 3 weeks ago. Premier League, Wolves, arguably, in terms of their position in Great Britain as a Premier League club, are probably bigger and can attract better players than Rangers.
Yeah. Here's a question for you, Flav. Here's a question for you. If you've said, integrity and loyalty is an important thing to me, and you've said that I've said to these group of players that, I want you to be here and I can't be the first one to jump ship, how many days do you think that you should just crack on with your job before sort of looking at that again? Now, I get that people evolve, but how many days would you want to pass?
I think 300, at least 365.
37 days he lasted.
That's not enough. That's not enough days. That's not enough days, Jim.
Do you think he was like, oh, no, I'm managing Rangers? No, I said I'll manage Rangers. Oh, no, yeah, but we meant Queen's Park Rangers. Oh,
so...
No, I thought you just meant Rangers.
I was confused.
But yeah, I found myself looking at the pub going, I really want Rangers to lose football matches. And
Did they lose?
That's the way they feel. And I know Scottish Taco is one of our main men in the patron community, Moist Slug. And I don't want to feel that way. But I do. I want him to fail. I'm covered either way because I said he'll be an England manager. So if he does well, it's fine. But anyway.
Well, they only just got over the line against Aberdeen, didn't they?
Well, do you know what I would say is...
we've got 2 goals in 95 and 97 minutes to beat Aberdeen.
Hanging by a thread, isn't he?
The problem is he good? Is he good? Is he good? Is he good?
Best win in the league.
Because when he went to Wolves, when he turned down Wolves, I think your form fell off a cliff, didn't it? Bit.
Yeah. And then Critchley comes in.
And what happens?
Well, 100% record, which is
maybe it wasn't Bill.
It's interesting.
Maybe it wasn't Bill.
Yeah. Maybe it's
Critchley all along. Where'd you pick him up from? Who is he?
We our usual. He was Villa assistant manager. That's what we do. We have a long line of Villa.
Hang on, so he replaced
John Terry. But thank God we just skipped John Terry. That would have been horrible.
Hang on. Did he, when he was Gerrard's number 2 or Emery's number 2?
He was Blackpool manager, and he left Blackpool to go to Aston Villa with Gerrard, and then they both got sacked, obviously. So he's then available. But yeah, good appointment.
And how did he do at Blackpool?
He did really well at Blackpool, got promoted, and then did well in his first season with them. So improved, if possibly. If possibly. Forgotten how to speak. Anyway, right, let's get back to this. So gut calls. Let us know in the chat. Give us your gut calls. as I said,
Okay.
I feel like that we'll work our way through. Higher or lower? Let's play a little game of higher or lower. Arsenal, will they finish higher or lower? Can't
Lower.
get any higher, can you? Yeah,
Mm.
you don't think they'll make it? Okay, Man City.
Honestly, I can't call it. I think Arsenal will be there all the way till the end of the season. I'm not mucking about. I think they will definitely be there.
Okay.
And so they should, but I think it'll be quite a tight race.
Do you think Newcastle United can keep it going?
At 90 plus points each, aren't you? That's what you're
Generally, you got to get to 90, haven't you? Yeah, you're right. So it's a long way to go. You imagine Man City would just drive off into the sunset. Yeah, that is my doorbell. Newcastle United. Can they keep this going?
Yes, but I think they'll drop out, but it won't be like I don't know. They've lost one game in 15.
Do you know what, though? I honestly think form is completely redundant now. It means absolutely nothing. It's complete. You start again. I think they'll. I think like you say, that expectation must start to mount them a little bit. I've got to be honest. But in terms of January, how many teams are going to spend money in January? I think Newcastle are one of those that I think they've got a couple of pennies spare.
Will.
Yeah.
I'm going to make a prediction now. I thought they would actually. I think they're going to finish in the top 4.
Top 4, wow.
Yeah.
I think the sort of sadness that is football will mean that, well, not sadness, but like the top teams will just, gently rise up to the top. I actually think Man United are going to go. I think Man United and Liverpool are going to go on really strong runs, both of them.
Mm.
Liverpool in particular, they obviously had a few key men knocking about, but some crucial ones. I've got to be honest, right? And I know I got a lot of heat for this in the video I did. I watched Darwin Núñez live. I don't want to say it. But
is this a fallout from you still being angry based on reaction to the last video?
Not angry. I'm kind of like, I was like, people were angry at me.
He's all right. I know. But Liverpool.
And I like, my opinion's the same. I can't see it yet.
No, that's fine to say. And you remember, like,
play. Honestly, his hold-up play, and again, I'm more than happy to be wrong if proved wrong. I think I've proven that over the years. But he was so bad.
Speaking of antics, you saw him trying to stamp on the penalty spot. Like that. Again, just like, why? You're doing it, but do you want to look like a cunt? Like, why are so many footballers happy just to look like a bell end? I don't know. Like, they're covering the spot and he's trying to find a way to do it. It's like, well, just fucking let them take the penalty. Why don't you win properly as opposed to cheating? Anyway,
Lloyd Harper says, "Don't do it, James. He's not that bad. You will be Dar-Wizzled." What I will say, or Dar-Wizzed, I could see whilst Diaz is out, I could see Liverpool going on a run. I'm really quite keen to bring him into my FPL team as well because I think he might score goals. I think the thing that I just need to get out of my head is that what's more important, output or technique? Because I don't think he's got technique, but I think he might provide output. So let's see.
The thing I find confusing, well, I'm not confused by it. You know from Liverpool as a fan base how they protect their own players and they'll defend them from criticism almost to a fault. You know, and they've had a track record previously of defending players that they shouldn't have defended. They did merely because they wear the Liverpool shirt. I don't think that's a controversial thing to say. And they will defend Darwin Núñez and talk him up because they spent so much money on him and they need him to be good. He's probably better than most people are saying, and, you know, fans talking about him, not you specifically, but me and other fans of other clubs that want him to foul, coming from a position of that, you know, partisanship. So it's like that's what they're bucking against. You haven't seen, I don't think any of us have seen enough in him yet to say that he's worth the money they've paid. They have gambled a little bit, but Liverpool fans are convinced. I did a show. Like we was on this Danish TV show. We were previewing the Liverpool game at White Lane. It's a 2-2 game. Or did we lose 2-1? I can't remember. And anyway, we were previewing it, and they said, so Darwin Núñez has been, you know, he hasn't had a great start at Liverpool. And the bloke went, what are you talking about? He's mustard. He's one of the best players that we've bought. Like we're all behind him. We think he's a fantastic world-class striker, an amazing signing. And Liverpool have like really pulled down Ben. He was just saying things that just weren't true. And I was looking at it, I was going, this is on national TV. This is on like it's effectively Sky's platform in Scandinavia. I think it's called Viaplay or something like that. And you're just pushing this sort of rhetoric.
But I think that's it, and I think that's where I'm like, the only reason I'm bringing him up is not because I'm not rattled in any way. I'm just like, the point is that I've seen him live twice, and my opinion is that I haven't seen any kind of quality hold up play yet. Yes, he's got incredible pace. Yes, his finishing at times has been decent. He scored a great goal against Rangers, but I can't not give my opinion when it's my opinion, and I've just not seen it yet. And I think it's a very nice, calm take to go. He needs time, needs to settle, all that stuff. And I think that's all probably true. And will he improve? Probably, yes. But I just like the games I have watched of him, he's been terrible. That's all I'm saying.
I think that's fine.
I think that is fine. And I feel comfortable with it.
I don't understand why people get so angry at someone else's opinion who doesn't even follow your football club.
I don't know. Someone said, what did they say? Oh, I don't even care. I think Fulham will continue to do well. There's a shout for you. I think Brentford, I'm slightly concerned about Brentford. I've got to be honest.
We've got them on Sunday, so hopefully.
Have you? Imagine if Ivan Toney
so hang on. Is Ivan Toney, he's suspended, right?
Fine, because they've got to appeal, but apparently I've heard rumours of more betting allegations, which interestingly, a Brentford fan said to me, isn't illegal, of course, but it's unlawful.
It's against the rule, the terms of your. I mean, does it matter? Either way, he's going to get a ban, whether it's unlawful or illegal. He's still going to get banned.
He's not going to go to prison, is what I'm saying.
Yeah, no one wants him to go to jail for this. He's just we're talking about what a weird.
I just thought it's interesting. It's like, because people go, "Oh, he's had a bet." It's not illegal. It's unlawful.
Yeah, but in the spirit of the game, it's about as illegal as a thing you can do. Is you have an influence over the games. I'm not saying he's throwing things. It's just saying if you have an influence or an insider knowledge into things, then you can't. It's the integrity of the sport.
Okay. Final team that's going to go on a bit of a run. Give us a shout. I'll go first. I think West Ham United are going to fix it all. They're currently 16th. Quite a bit of pressure. They got Arsenal first game. I think it's going to be a lot of chaotic games in these first ones. And normally the Christmas period is where the top teams dominate because the other teams are starting to lose players. The squad's tired. Confidence is low. Blah blah blah. But I think West Ham. I think they're going to come back strong. That's my pick.
I think Wolves.
Wolves, yeah.
I think Wolves will finish comfortably outside the relegation zone.
Okay. Cameron Fraser says Villa.
Villa, they're 12th. What kind of run?
Yeah,
they've won in 3 and 4.
Unai Emery, though, isn't it? Unai Emery, he's
good
a messiah.
Manager. Good manager.
Good manager, as long as he's managing Aston Villa. If he's managing a team right at the top, he's not really good enough.
Who's going down?
That's what people think.
Yeah. Who's going down? I'm going to predict Southampton, Bournemouth, and let's say Everton.
Bournemouth have done so well, but they're losing those games where they had the lead. I think it was twice or 3 times. That's like killed them a little bit because they're actually only 3 points off Forest now.
Yeah, no, they have done well, and they were flying, weren't they? They were like they could have finished 5th if they beat Spurs.
I think it's 3 of. I think it's probably 3 or 4. I mean, to see how Steve Cooper's does because he's had a bit of time to get himself sorted out. If I had to pick, I would go Southampton. I'm slightly concerned about Everton, but they should be all right. Southampton, Bournemouth, Forest. Yeah.
I don't want Everton. I don't want Ped and specifically Baz to feel the pain, but it would be well funny if Everton went down.
I mean, yeah, be great for League of 72. Right, I want to get because we haven't got a huge amount of time.
Yeah.
So let me rattle through some good bits. Okay.
Go on.
Samism, sort of a Samism. Someone described Ronaldo. This is Eaton. Someone described Ronaldo's actions as arrogant and self-centered. I was cracking up at the thought of Ronaldo sniffing himself to boost his own ego. I do feel like arrogant people do feel like they're smelling themselves a lot. Sort of like that, aren't they? So I thought that was interesting. What we got here? Self-confessed Samson from a few weeks ago. I was on the phone to my mum. I was telling her about my job and feeling more settled in. I'm a newly qualified teacher. Well done, you. And it obviously takes time to get used to it all. To describe that I'm more confident, I said that I was no longer green around the ears, confusing wet behind the ears to describe a newbie, and green around the gills for seasickness. Mocking laughter ensued from my own mother. That obviously hurt. Flav, I'm just going to need to know if you want to call this one or not. I once met Josh McRogers. I've been going through old episodes of the pod and came across the I met once bit, which we did a while back, obviously, where you met certain people once. It reminded me of the time I met Roy Keane while I was at work at an unnamed shop. Name the shop, Josh. For context, I live and work in Aldershot, a small military town, so to see Roy Keane there was quite the surprise. He came up to me to ask about Mr. Kipling Battenberg slices and how there wasn't any on the shelf. There's no Battenberg slices on the shelf. I said I would go and look out the back for him, and at that point I walked off and went to look. To my surprise, he followed me out to the back of the shop. I couldn't bring myself to tell him he wasn't allowed to be here, as I didn't expect for this to happen. Together, Roy and myself found the Battenberg slices at the bottom of a stack of delivered goods. He then proceeded to watch me unload the whole pile to get to the slices. As he went to walk off, he needed me to unlock the door for him, and so asked me in an irritated yet quiet voice, "Could you open the door for me, please?" That's the end of it.
That's fantastic. It's like fan fiction, isn't it?
I like the so the replies. Bazal said, "But that's your job to bring up the slices, of course." And then I didn't know this was a thing, but this is a new Jaffin line that we hadn't really sort of put the spotlight on, because Stokesy went, "We calling it?" That's one of yours, isn't it? You've always gone, Are we calling it? Oh, how do you feel? Josh replied saying, "It definitely happened," he says.
I think he knows it's bullshit, obviously, and that's what's funny about it. I don't. This isn't one of the ones you do call, unfortunately, Luke. I don't think, because it's just it's clearly, obviously, a bit of a. I think there's actually a meme, something around this about Roy Keane stories. I'm not sure, but yeah, obviously he's made it up, but it's funny.
Okay. But
it's the ones where people say stuff to get featured on the show. Those are the ones that need calling.
Right. Okay. Just
mental fan fiction, I think, is fine.
Okay. Just to ask, things you did as a kid. This was a bit that before the World Cup, and I think I would really like to get this off the ground. So please have a think about things you did. This was Brendan Sandman said a new bit. Things you did as a kid that you're embarrassed about now that you did. So things you did as a kid, we now understand you were a child, your brain wasn't developed, but you're now embarrassed about them. Let's have a bit of fun about those things, okay? So get them in the comments. Brandon, just to reiterate what he did, I used to swallow coins as a kid. There wasn't a need there wasn't a need for me to keep since there wasn't a need for me to keep them. I just picked them up, plopped them in my mouth. I love it, Brandon. That's great. Weird things you did as a kid.
Do you remember the little square 9-volt batteries?
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm talking about? The little square ones with two things.
Yeah,
you ever do?
Yeah.
Does that make any sense to you?
No, yeah. I think people did do it. Yeah, for sure. I don't think I'd licked it.
Oh, mate. And you're like, oh. You used to do that all the time, lick the batteries.
If that isn't on, James and Flav now out of context. I don't know.
Just a little.
Cameron Fraser, for example, I used to eat cement. Yeah, things like that. Slugs in the Wild. Let's finish with Slugs in the Wild, because it's.
Well, I had one, didn't I? I was
okay, tell me your one. Go on.
Chippenham Station, sure. And I was going to London for like a little Christmas drink, and then this guy came down and went, "Flav, I'm sure you hear this all the time, but I love your podcast." And I was like, I don't know if it is. I'm pretty sure it would be Jaffin.
Right.
And the issue I had was I was really annoyed at the guard on the gate because we were running out of time. And she goes, no, you're not allowed through here. You can't buy your tickets on the train. You have to go and buy it from the machine, which is bollocks because I've bought tickets on the train many, many times. You just speak to the person. No, you aren't allowed. So I was annoyed at her and I was turning around and he came out of nowhere and went, oh, I love the pod. And so I had to, all my aura was off.
Yeah.
It was off. And so I hope I didn't come across as rude. That was why I wanted to bring it up.
Yes, I know you did. You're lovely, lovely man. God bless you. Did I tell you about? Did I tell you about on the plane with England? I did, didn't I? Forget it. Anyway, okay. Only men know. Again, another bit that we must do because people were saying this is the best bit we've ever had.
So the examples were separating the balls from when you're walking. So if there's footprints in the sand and then there's one footprint to the right and then back to the normal footprints, all men know what that's about. Stuff like that. And a couple of weeks ago we did a podcast. I think it was a Ronaldo one. Go check it out. Where we did the different nods. Someone described the different nods beautifully. So those are the kind of things I do like. And I am concerned there's going to be a lot of urinal chat, a lot of penis chat, and these are the only ones that we've got. I'm not concerned about that at all.
Good. Okay. Well, but if you do have other ones, I'm keen to read those out, and you've got more of a chance of having them read out. Penderfan. The nod breakdowns are better than any acting or psychology course you can get. Again, go back to that podcast. And yes, women. I don't know if Penn. I'll see. See right now. So look, I read this, and in my head, this was a man. It might be a woman. And so let's just say that it was a man, right? And quite quickly, I felt like this guy was desperate to let me know that he's an absolute shagger. Right?
Oh, yeah. I love the sound of this. Cut this bloke's jib already. Go on.
Yeah. So Penderfan 7405. He said, and yes, women do communicate a lot with eyes. Off the top of my head, brackets, ready? Brackets, typing while exhausted. I just love the start of this. It's just I just got a character like this, just suave guy who's generally in candlelit scenarios. He said, and yes, women do communicate a lot with eyes. Off the top of my head, and of course I'm typing while exhausted because I've been shagging all week. Now and then he does, these are good, right? So Catherine, let us know if these are right or not. Narrowing. So this is communicating with eyes. Sorry. Oh God, I've just lost it. We're fine. Narrowing your eyes, a woman's eyes, while smiling is for someone you despise but have to be polite to.
Is it like this?
It's like that. Flicking them to the side for a few seconds indicates an attractive man in that direction, similar to the male nod flick. What else we got? And widening them can either mean genuine disbelief or feeling or very faked sympathy, context dependent. So there you go. I do like the one in particular. Why narrowing eyes while smiling is definitely when a woman doesn't really like another woman.
Mm.
They're subtle creatures, aren't they? But yeah, I just like the first line. And yes, women do communicate a lot with eyes. Off the top of my head, I'm typing while exhausted. Amazing. At user, things that only men do. This is only men do, not only men know. We're looking for only men know. But I'll let it go. People will say, and we've done this as well, but it's always a good one. Say, yeah, that's good, mate, to the barber when he shows you the back of your head after a haircut, regardless of what the cut looks like.
Because it's done. Like what different?
Yeah. Well, mine is, and I'm sure everyone's heard this before, but I'll always go because you just want that moment of cringe to end. So I'll just go perfect. But that is true. Generally, we don't complain. And at Jack Lynch, things only men know. There are two techniques to nut scratch: the pinch and roll, or the backwards rake.
Backwards rake.
I know.
I haven't heard of that before.
What on earth?
The pinch and rolls.
The pinch and rolls. Oh, it's a beauty, isn't it?
It's the most effective way. Like natural scratching of that region is impossible.
Really?
What a backwards rake!
Can you? Are we doing that?
Yeah.
Is it that?
Can you draw that, please? What that looks like?
backwards rake. I'm
And
thinking it's
DM
that.
James. DM James with that drawing of what that would look like.
Okay.
Backwards rake.
Oh, Catherine's not working, so we don't know if those eye signals are true. Backwards, I think it's that.
Yeah, but I've never done that. I don't know if that's
apparently, Cameron says you're not a man if you don't know. Thomas Martin, son of Nigel Martin, says pinch and roll is the way to go.
It's the only way.
Amazing. Okay.
Why
Slugs in
do
the well.
men-
Oh, sorry, go on.
I've got to go slugs in the world. Do it.
No, yours sounds better. Go.
But what is so comfortable and relaxing about being on the sofa and just having your hands down your pants, cupping your cock?
I think it's just a warmth and safety that only a hand can provide.
Yeah. So why don't women just leave us alone when we're doing it?
I think in your own place it's fine, but I think when we're out in public and it's just like blokes with jogging bottoms with their hands down, I'm like, what the fuck are you doing?
Yeah, no, that is weird. Like, it's a thing like lads do, don't they? Like kids, they wear a jogging, they just have their hands down, and like get your hand away from your cock.
Teenagers love it.
Yeah, on the sofa. Well, I'm sitting here now. I've got a pair of joggers. I've got holding my piece. Just what I talked to you.
Are you holding your piece? Or are you holding your...
I'm holding the piece.
You're holding your penis whilst we're doing the podcast. Great. That's interesting. Yeah. Do you? Okay. Quick question for me. Do you cup the balls or do you hold the piece?
No, I think you're doing this. You're cupping around, and so you're putting the cock between the two balls. The balls come out the side, and then they just sit on these two fingers.
Whilst we're drawing pictures, if someone can draw that, that'd be great. I was going to do Christmas Day guilty pleasures. Maybe you can write them down. We can critique them next week. Mine we'll do mine and yours, and then we'll do other people's. Mine is what I like to do is I like to massively overeat, and then we've got this bean bag at my parents' house, and everyone else will want to sit down on the sofa, but I want to lie on top of the beanbag with my full stomach, just for a little bit and drift off, just like a blob. If I can.
Have you seen how naturally you was just doing this?
Oh yeah, just plonk on there and just drift off for a little bit because I've had so much stuffing that I'm just like.
What are you fall asleep face down on a beanbag?
Yeah, oof. In front of the telly, people go, "Oh, I don't watch the telly." That's my guilty pleasure. What's yours?
Well, I was doing all my kids' Lego. Like, I love Lego. I want to be bought Lego for Christmas. If I picked up a Christmas box on a present in the morning and I shook it and it sounded like Lego, I'd be so excited.
Really?
Yeah, and I know that I'm an adult. I'm 41, and I should be past Lego, but I'm not. So yeah, I keep dropping the hint that I want Lego. So I'm doing the kids' Lego, and after you're so full from dinner, you roll off the sofa like that. Drag yourself to the kitchen and fill up another Yorkshire pud full of food.
Delicious. There was we had a little look at the. So I had the guilty pleasures, Christmas Day guilty pleasures. There was one driving to Fleet Surfaces for a post-Christmas meal nosh. Oh, can you imagine? Sick everywhere. One that did make me laugh. That I was just a bit confused by. Maybe it's just one for the comments to see how we're feeling about it. Morning drinking. Got to be morning drinking. One day of the year, it's acceptable to crack a beer at 9 a.m.
Yeah, 100%. We like the first thing you do on Christmas morning is Bucks Fizz.
Standard.
Do you not do that?
No, we do. Get that. Jay has a quick wank over the Queen's speech. Not sure if I'm going to do it this year. And then two weird ones. I'll just leave it for the comments because I've got to go downstairs. Matthew Boreham. Chicken nugget, frozen pea, and mayonnaise wrap for breakfast with Bucks Fizz.
Oh.
Frozen pea.
What? If it's the Matthew Boreham I know, I think he's in the States. He's like an expat. No.
Oh, right.
No, he won't be in the wind-up.
Okay. Tom Lear, cutting up pickled onions and squishing sprouts to put into a sandwich, and also adding some fruity brown sauce. Bosh. Not a fan of that either.
Can I leave you with something?
Yes, go on.
Someone's DM'd me, Ben Holcroft. It's a tweet from Fesshole. Which one of you scumbags sent this into Fesshole?
Keep getting tagged as well.
My husband keeps asking me to role play as a slug in the bedroom. He keeps stressing to me that it has to be a slug, not a snail. I don't know what I'm supposed to do. She doesn't know. She'll never know.
She'll never know, but we know. Right, we finish up with Slugs in the Wild. Merry Christmas, everyone. Thank you for supporting the podcast, especially our lovely Moisties, absolute heroes. At Charlie York, he says, "Hi, James. I have a Slugs in the Wild encounter. I'm currently at uni in a student accommodation, living with people I don't know. Me and one of my flatmates are watching the football. I hear him say, he's got to go, hasn't he? My eyebrows raised in confusion, believing that I may be living with a slug. I dropped it for a few weeks, and then he says, how many games does he have to lose to be sacked? Then I asked, do you watch...
Got to be.
Do you watch JLA? He said, yes. Do you watch the pod? Then I replied with a simple question. Are you a slug? His face lit up in happiness as we had both finally met a fellow dry...
That's okay.
Slug is fine. It's fine. Then we sat there for 2 hours in front of the rest of our flatmates saying all the in-jokes. Lovely.
That is amazing. That's such a lovely thing to hear. I love more of that.
More of that.
That's fantastic.
Right,
stuff.
guys.
We only move forward.
Merry Christmas.
Have a great Christmas, everyone.
We love you all 2 bits.
Yeah.
And
Totally.
lots more fun incoming. Get involved with the bits. Remember, you make the podcast. You make the podcast with your amazing comments. So thank you very much. Merry Christmas. Goodbye.
Merry Christmas, everyone.
Love to you all.